Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. In this corner, weighing in at 135 pounds, priced at $1,495, your current world champion from New York City, the Peloton Bike. In this corner, weighing in at 150 pounds, priced at $1,399, your newest contender in the connected fitness arena from Santa Monica, California, the Beachbody MYX 2. Let's begin.
Hey everyone, this is Colin here with Connect the Watts. Wait. That's better. I'm here today to officiate the comparison between Beachbody's brand new MYX 2 and the original Peloton Bike. Let's see which of these two bikes comes out on top when stacked against one another.
Round 1. Design.
While both bikes look great, I will have to say that the MYX 2 has a slight edge when it comes to its visual presentation. It comes in two colors, white and charcoal, compared to just the black for Peloton. And seeing the blue mixed in with here, it really makes the bike stand out and look great. The MYX 2 bike also has a smaller footprint, being 8 inches shorter in length when compared to the Peloton. Visual design is obviously going to be one of the most subjective categories, and I'm sure a lot of people do prefer how the Peloton looks. But if I have to pick a winner here, MYX 2 is going to be my choice.
Round 2. Resistance.
One of the biggest differences between the Peloton and the MYX 2 is how they create resistance. Peloton has magnetic resistance, while the MYX 2 uses friction resistance. And the magnetic resistance used by Peloton is the winner here, as it feels a bit smoother, especially at the higher resistances. Now, MYX 2 does feel a lot smoother than most other friction-based bikes and is pretty much as quiet as Peloton, and that's because Beachbody put a really heavy 41-pound flywheel on this bike. Even still though, Peloton's more up-to-date magnetic resistance has a slight edge here.
Round 3. Accessibility.
In terms of which of these two bikes offers more accessibility to fit more people, MYX 2 has a bit more to offer here. With the heavier weight, the MYX 2 is designed to support up to 350 pounds, whereas the Peloton only supports up to 297. The MYX 2 also includes a 4-way adjustment system compared to Peloton's 3-way system. The main difference being that you can slide the handlebars closer and farther away, which means that for shorter and taller people, especially those who are shorter than 5'1" or taller than 6'2", you're probably going to find a much more comfortable fit with the MYX 2. The MYX also comes with pedals that include both clips and toe cages so that you can ride the bike with or without cycling shoes. With Peloton, it's delivered with just the clips, so you will need cycling shoes unless you buy new clips when you get the bike. So yeah, MYX 2, they win this round.
Round 4. Screen.
Both the MYX 2 and original Peloton come with a 21.5-inch HD touchscreen. On the back of the screen, the Peloton comes with 16-watt speakers, whereas the MYX speakers are a bit stronger here at 20 watts. The MYX 2 bike screen also allows for 360 degrees of rotation, which is a really nice feature, especially if you plan on taking strength, yoga, or boot camp classes that take you off the bike. The fact is, these screens are very similar, but the MYX bike does allow for that 360 degree rotation, which just makes it an easy win for them.
Round 5. Tech.
The tablet that comes with the MYX 2 is a bit more up to date and quite a bit faster than the one on the Peloton. I'm actually pretty surprised here that Peloton hasn't updated these tablets yet on the original bike, as their age is really starting to show. And I do think it's important to plan that if you are going to buy an original Peloton bike, that it is very likely you will need to buy an upgraded tablet within the next 2 to 4 years. And while neither can technically connect to the Apple Watch, the MYX 2 does have a neat workaround where you can connect your Apple Watch to their app, and that app sends the Apple Watch metrics to the bike. And MYX does include a free polar heart rate monitor to be used for their classes, with a charger set up in the back of the screen, which is super convenient, and it's a pretty nice touch given their program is so focused on heart rate training. So MYX 2 wins on the tech.
Round 6. Comfort.
Now, compared to the MYX 2, Peloton does have a bit more of a comfortable grip and slightly more options for hand placement. The bottle holders are smaller on Peloton, which isn't good or bad. It just depends on if you tend to use wide bottles or not. And Peloton in the back comes with light dumbbell holders for their arms toning classes, which is noticeably missing from the MYX 2. Both seats are pretty comparable and comfortable, so I would have to say Peloton does win the category of comfort by a little bit.
Round 7, class selection.
Now, when looking at both of the programs, you might think that the Peloton would have a better class selection than the MYX. And if you're thinking that, you would be right. In terms of cycling classes, Peloton definitely has a much larger, more varied, and more interesting collection than either OpenFit or Body, which are the two memberships that you can choose from on the MYX 2. But in terms of other class categories, Body pulls from well over a decade of cardio, strength, yoga, and bar classes, so they actually have a pretty significant collection here. And in terms of live classes, well, Body is still in beta, so it's hard to know exactly what their schedule will look like. But Peloton does have a pretty huge live class selection pretty much every day. So I would imagine that Peloton will continue to offer a bit more than Body here, at least at the start.
Round 8, program selection.
Now, classes are one thing, but programs, they're another. The difference is that a program is a well thought out, organized collection of specifically made classes designed to take you from point A to point B. And this just happens to be one of Peloton's weakest areas and one of Beachbody's strongest. Peloton has improved their programs this year, but their collection is still very limited. Whereas Beachbody has included hundreds of popular and fully built out programs, which not only include their workouts, but also nutrition plans, PDFs, weight tracking, workout progress tracking sheets, and even groups that you can join for many of these programs to stay accountable. And the only thing though, is that Beachbody and the MYX don't have a huge amount of cycling programs. And so even though there are way more and more complete Beachbody programs, the fact that they don't have cycling programs kind of puts them at a tie with Peloton for this round.
Round 9, stat tracking.
The one big limitation for the MYX 2 is that it only tracks your cadence rather than the resistance and cadence, which would allow it to measure your power output. They work around this by focusing on heart rate training for classes, meaning the instructor will tell you which cadence to be in and which heart rate zone to be in, which works well enough for somebody who doesn't care too much about tracking stats and looking at a leaderboard or using their output on a bike as a measure of improvement. And so stats on the MYX 2 are just weaker and a lot less interesting than they are on Peloton. So for stat tracking, Peloton, they win this one by a pretty big margin.
Final round, class experience.
Look, both MYX and Peloton offer some of the best indoor cycling studio experiences available. And while MYX does do a better job with music than most, they still don't touch Peloton here, as music is arguably their biggest strength. Now, MYX does offer a great class experience. I still prefer Peloton's interactive leaderboard, where you can high five others, see when people get new milestones, and compete against them if you would like to. Peloton just currently offers a better class experience for those who enjoy the social and competitive aspect of working out. So I have to give this round to Peloton.
And the winner is Peloton!
Which, to be fair, I think a lot of us mostly expected, but I think it's pretty impressive just how close it was, considering that MYX and Body are still in beta. They aren't even fully out yet. Not to mention that the MYX 2 bike is cheaper than the Peloton. I know the sticker price shows that you're only $100 off, but typically with codes and all that stuff, you can find the MYX 2 bike for like $200 to $300 cheaper than the Peloton. Not to mention that their memberships are also cheaper. So all of that does need to be taken into consideration. Personally, I think we might have to do a rematch here in the future. Of course, you should not buy one of these two bikes just based on my scores, but rather which aspects of the bike are most important to you. And if you want to learn more about each of these two bikes, you can check out the review of our MYX 2 here and a comparison of the Peloton versus Peloton Plus here. See you over there.